It's Q&A time. What's going on, everyone? It's finally time for the Q&A. I posted that video a couple weeks ago. I gave it time to build up. Anyway, it's time for me to answer the questions that you guys submitted. Well, I've always been really interested in cameras, video cameras, still photography, all that stuff, ever since I was a kid. I had an uncle who used to always come to the family gatherings and family parties and make videos, and I cherish those memories. I still have all those old tapes, and I think they're awesome. Then I went to school hoping to do kind of radio and stuff like that, and I kind of get pushed more into video work. So I learned a lot doing that stuff, and I would do things like that, but then you kind of get into your career and you start working, and I did less and less with video. But then YouTube really did kind of inspire me into getting back into making videos. I actually published my first thing on YouTube like 8-9 years ago after school. Before YouTube was real big, I had posted a few things, and it was just school projects, nothing that I really expected to ever get a lot of views or even continue with. Took like a 7-year break, and then TTMs are really what brought me into making YouTube videos. That is a great question. In my opinion, Pat Neshek and Bobby Doerr are the two best TTM guys out there, especially in baseball and honestly in all of sports. But they're two vastly different people, and they both doing a fabulous job. You have Bobby Doerr, who's in his late 90s, who's been doing TTMs for years and years, and that's admirable, but he's kept it up into this elder age. And I mean, he's a Hall of Fame guy, so that's incredible on one end. And then you have Pat Neshek, who is an autograph collector, which is definitely an advantage for us autograph collectors because he understands the hobby and likes to give back. But he's a Major League Baseball player. I mean, this is a guy who's making a couple $1 million a year to pitch in the majors, and you would think maybe he'd get burnt out or get tired of it, but the guy just returns stuff. He'll sign a bunch of things. So I mean, that's great. There are a lot of athletes in baseball today that still sign a lot, but I don't think anyone signs as much, as often, and as, you know, actively as Pat Neshek does. And he actually goes as far as to publish an address to send to him during the season, spring training, and even during the off season. He posts this stuff on Twitter. So that's, you know, that's great. My first success in the new age of TTMing, since I've been doing the videos on YouTube, was Mike Vrabel back in 2014. When I first decided I was going to start sending TTMs, I kind of, like a lot of new people, went nuts. And I'd look at success rates. I'm like, oh, well, this guy did sign a couple. And I sent a ton of stuff out. And, you know, the general percentage of things coming back wasn't great. But I did send to Mike Vrabel, who was coaching at the time. And I got him back in like 5 or 6 days. So that's the first one that I got back. I mean, I had a lot of other successes just days later. And I actually just got Mike Vrabel again a few days ago. But my first TTM in general, I believe it was Dale Murphy after he was traded to the Phillies back in, I want to say 1991, sent some cards to him and got them back. But I had sent to a few people back then as well. I never did a ton of TTMs, but had sent different requests out to a few different players like Mike Schmidt, Cal Ripken, and some guys like that way back in the early 90s. I was always a big card collector, and I was into this stuff for a long while. And then, like a lot of people, you get into high school, you get busy, you get into college, you get busy, and you kind of fall from the hobby a little bit. You're still a little bit into it, but you just have a lot of things going on. And then I just kind of drifted away from cards. I was aware that they were out. I still did memorabilia stuff. I still went to Phillies charity events, did some signing stuff, bought a lot of stuff, didn't really seek autographs. But then I actually kind of saw some of the products like Topps Archives and stuff coming out, and saw like 1988 baseball and some current players being printed on those cards, and that got me really interested. Then I started fooling around with custom cards, making my own cards, wanting to put current players on old designs, and from there I actually got into creating my own designs. But I was bouncing around YouTube, and, you know, I saw some TTM successes, and that's really what got me in. And really the first big guy that I started to follow a lot was Wesker Griff, who you see me interact a lot with here on YouTube. I think he's one of the best people on YouTube. He really responded quickly when I asked him some questions, and he doesn't get as many TTMs as maybe he used to, but he's still a great pillar of this community, and I think you guys should check out his channel. Check it out below. My longest wait to date for a TTM success is 582 days, and that was from Mike Napoli. I sent it to him with the Boston Red Sox a couple years ago, and then finally, this spring, it came back. He's with the Cleveland Indians, 582 days. So that tells you, never give up. You never know when they're going to come back. I mean, eventually you got to stop expecting them to come back, but sometimes you get surprised. August 15th, 1990, I went down to the Phillies game. It was my dad, myself, and my brother Tommy. So we go to see the Giants and Phillies play. Terry Mulholland was on the mound for the Phils. And I liked Terry Mulholland really early on. He was a left-handed pitcher. I liked his style. I loved his pickoff move. Quickly became a big fan of him as a kid. I think I was, 8 years old? 8 years old at this point. Anyway, that game, he goes out there and throws the first 9-inning no-hitter in Veterans Stadium history. Magnificent performance. Absolute thrill. I mean, I was only 8 years old, but I was a huge baseball fan. Believe me, I was well above the curve in terms of that. I knew what was going on. We were counting it down. I was nervous, excited. My brother and I remember doing our Terry chants afterwards. Anyway, the guy threw nearly a perfect game. One Charlie Hayes error cost him the perfect game, but Charlie Hayes made up for it with a big play in the ninth inning to prevent, a hit from Gary Carter. Anyway, getting to the IP autograph, the in-person autograph, and this is why it's my favorite, is later that season, I guess it had to be September, maybe late August, Mulholland, of course, was becoming a bigger name because of the no-hitter, and he was outside of the vet. You used to be able to go there, and the players would come out, and they'd have to walk to the parking lot, unlike nowadays where, they just kind of go directly into the parking lot and they can drive off, and sometimes they'll stop and sign. Anyway, Mulholland was out there signing a ton of autographs, and people were getting them, and then he's like, listen, guys, I just signed a bunch. I'm going to go get my truck, so I'm ready to go, and then I'll finish signing for you guys. And, of course, a lot of people are like, he's full of crap. He doesn't want to sign anymore. He's out of here. Boo. People are complaining. We waited around a few more minutes, and there he comes, rolling back with his truck, window down, sat there and signed for whoever was remaining for another 10 minutes, and I remember being able to talk to him a little bit. My dad was saying, hey, we were at your no-hitter and would love to get those tickets signed at some point and stuff like that. So that was just a great thrill, meeting him and getting an autograph. And really him being a stand-up guy and not blowing off the fans. Least favorite Philly? I don't know. That's a tough one. At the time the question was asked, the current Philly was Emmanuel Burris because he just wasn't any good. Just something about him I didn't like. All-time least favorite Philly? I would say Endy Chavez. I really didn't like that guy. I thought he sucked. Now, he went on and did some good things for the Mets, and good for him. Not that him playing great for the Mets makes me happy. Obviously, he made a great defensive play for them. But when he was with the Phillies, he was brutal. He stunk. He was really bad, and I remember when the Phillies were in the pennant race against the Astros that year, I think it was Brad Lidge and Wagner, I guess, those two, who ended up becoming Phillies, were throwing balls in the dirt, and he'd swing at every one of them, and these were critical games. So Endy Chavez is not a fan at all. I've received a ton of TTMs over the years, and I appreciate all of them, and there's a lot of them that mean just a tremendous amount to me, whether they're just great throwback cards or awesome card designs or players I've really enjoyed. But I would say the one that really brought the biggest smile to my face, and a lot of it's based on timing, is Bill Belichick. I got that back shortly after the Super Bowl a few years ago, which was obviously one of the greatest moments in NFL history, one of the most exciting Super Bowls of all time. Just a thrilling game. And I want to say it came back about a month after that, so that was fresh in your mind. And there was a letter with it, with the updated Super Bowl champion paper stock. And Bill Belichick, just signed two pictures for me, and it was just really thrilling and really exciting, and I just got a kick out of that one. And Belichick, gets that stigma of being a nasty guy and a mean guy, and he's not. He's actually really good and gracious to the New England Patriot fans and to the players. I mean, I think the players that have played for him really embrace him and appreciate what he's done for him. Of course, you're going to have a few bad eggs here and there that, heads collide, and sometimes he does things that appear to be heartless, but it's for the betterment of the team. I mean, the guy is the greatest coach in the NFL right now and one of the best of all time, whether you like him or not. Well, I've seen nearly all of the ballparks in baseball. I think I have 7 or 8 left. I'd have to count them. I guess it's 7 at this point. The one that I'm most excited to see is out in San Francisco. I just think that ballpark looks amazing. Everything I've ever heard about the city seems awesome. So that's the one that I'm most excited to see. But that's also the one that remains that's the most expensive. So I hope to get to it at some point, but it's not really on the horizon right now. I've been really lucky. I haven't had too many issues with professional athletes. In general, they've always been really pleasant and nice to me. And I've done some work in locker rooms over the years, so I can't really speak on that too much. But in terms of just fan interaction, when I was a kid, though, this is back in 1991, maybe 92, Ruben Amaro was a young player, and he almost hit me with his car. So that was not a great experience. I remember being really upset at that, and not, my dad was screaming at him and stuff like that. But Amaro has had those tendencies. I actually met someone later in life who apparently had a similar incident like that back in that same time frame. So I think Ruben Amaro had some hothead moments in his days, and maybe that's one of the parts that I've never forgiven him for, outside of the fact that he did a pretty lousy job for a number of years as the general manager of the Phillies. Outside of that, though, I mean, I remember one time being really annoyed with Ryan Franklin. He was actually with the Phillies for a while, but the issue came a couple years later when he was with the Cardinals. At some point, a few years later, and Ryan Franklin didn't have a great career, but he did have a few nice seasons with the Cardinals, specifically his first year. I believe it was his first year with the Cardinals. He ended up in the closer's role, and he wound up reaching the All-Star game and had a really good year. But this is a guy that you would think would be really humbled, going, man, I'm really fortunate to be in this situation. Anyway, it was after a Phillies-Cardinals game, and I think I was with the media at the time, and there were like 4 or 5 Cardinals fans waiting by the gate as the players were getting on the bus, and a lot of the players would stop and sign for him. I mean, again, it wasn't 50 people. It wasn't hordes of people. There were 4 people with Cardinals stuff on. It might have just been one family who may have traveled. I don't know if they traveled from St. Louis or if they were local to this area or, had moved or whatever. But Ryan Franklin just walked by and shook his head no. And I remember thinking, dude, these people are here to support you, support your team. There's no wait. The bus isn't exactly leaving right now. You're just going to get on the bus and sit there. Hey, man, it's your life. You can do whatever you want. But in my opinion, it would have been nice if you signed for those few people. Well, I'm not a Ruben Amaro guy. I do appreciate what he did on his way out of the door with the Phillies. He made some solid moves. Now, I don't know how much of that was him and how much of that was influenced by Pat Gillick and the Phillies front office staff who kind of took over towards the end. But regardless, Ruben Amaro was GM, and those trades look like they're working out. But I was not a fan of his dealings from when he took over till, up to around that last year. I just think he made a lot of rash decisions and poor moves, and he's the one who brought Jonathan Papelbon here on a ridiculous contract when it wasn't really needed. Papelbon never really bothered me specifically. He did his job on the field. He was a goofball and a clown, but you knew that coming in, so I don't know what fans expected from him. And you know what? Good luck to him either way. I don't really care. I'm not a Papelbon fan, but I wouldn't call myself a Papelbon hater either. I don't buy many hobby boxes online. I've ordered some here and there from Steel City Collectibles. They're located just outside of Pittsburgh. They have a lot of good deals and free shipping and all that stuff. I will eventually order some stuff from Blowout Cards. I just haven't gotten to it. But I buy a lot of my stuff at some of the big shows that are here a few times a year in Pennsylvania. And then I have a guy who sets up at those shows that I have access to. Um, I can just get stuff directly from him. So I do a lot of my purchasing of sports card products just directly with people and not online. If I'm buying cards on eBay or COMC or any of the other available websites, I'll even buy some cards occasionally from Burbank Sports Cards. Usually it's either players or a team I collect. You know, sometimes I'll buy some Patriots cards and stuff like that, but mostly I'm more focused on baseball. So I'll buy current Phillies products, I'll buy old Phillies cards, and just sometimes players or whoever I want. That's what I target. I will buy certified Phillies autographs and sometimes autographs from other baseball players or football players if I see really good deals. So that's basically what I target. Right now, though, I am working on a project. I'm trying to put together the ultimate Phillies team set from Topps. So I would like to put together every base Phillies team set from 1951 through 2016 and beyond. And I think I finished up 81 through 2016 until Series 2 and Update are released. But I'm still working on those early years. I have some of them getting close, but if you guys have any Phillies, some old Phillies Topps cards that you don't need, feel free to send them my way. Guys, thank you for watching this Q&A video. Thank you to all those who participated, and make sure you stay tuned for more videos from myself. Have a great one.